Hi guys, we're live again from Bazaar India's Insta Live. Thank you all for having lunch with us. This is pretty cool. We've really been enjoying our afternoon sessions where we can actually just sit and chill with some of our favorite cover stars, some of our favorite people. I really appreciate those of you who join us. It's fun. It's really fun. It's a little bit stressful for us because I think all of us are still learning how to use this medium. I know I struggle with framing. I find it really funny that I struggle with framing. Hey Ayush, hey all of you who've joined us. As you all know, we have the lovely Ananya Panday who will be in conversation with me today. We've worked with her in the past for another magazine, but this is the first time Bazaar is working with her. The really interesting thing that I noticed was that she actually launched last year in May. She had a dream debut with Karan Johar, Student of the Year. She had another film after that. But I mean, her year was action-packed. And then, boom, we come here to 2020. We're sitting here in June. We don't know what's going on. We don't know if we're ever getting out of this lockdown. But I think that it might be a little bit traumatic for someone who's had such a busy year to have to find yourself completely locked down. But what's really wonderful about Ananya that we've noticed is she's been keeping her spirits really high. She's done a lot of work for digital, for social media. You know that she's launched this campaign called So Positive, this initiative. So she's been keeping her spirits up. And one of the things I've been doing is I've been sort of using social media and Instagram wisely to bring myself some positivity, some hope, some joy. In fact, for those of you who follow us, Bazaar has been doing a Two for Joy campaign for a long time. It's the little things that bring you joy. And for those of you who've joined, I'd love to know what are the little things that bring you joy. I think I've said this many times. It's my little dog that brings me joy more than anything else. The fact that I can read a lot. I hope that I'm audible. I'm trying to use my AirPods this time. Like I said, I'm still old school. When I take my phone for an interview and I record it, I also still vigorously take notes. Is there anybody who wants to... Oh, we have lots of requests to join us, but we can't. We're only waiting for Ananya. But I'd love to know what are the things that bring you all joy. If anyone would like to share it with me. I've told you two things. I could probably tell you more, but then it's very boring if I tell you all the things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for my team who all join our Instagram lives very sweetly. I'm grateful for the fact that I can still access incredible coffee. Special shout out to Blue Tokai, who I love. I cannot live without my coffee. But when I do have my coffee in the afternoons, I miss my team because every afternoon we would go to the breakout area and brew a beautiful cup of coffee because that's just one of the things we loved doing. Ananya should be joining us soon. She threatened to join us by 1:02, which means it should be any second. I'm getting all kinds of... These are the weird bits, you know, when you go back and you watch what you've been doing. I think Ananya is joining us any minute. Hey, hi. Hi.
How are you? I blanked for a second. I completely forgot how to join a live. So I was like, wait, how do I do it? I got so confused, but then I figured it out. So it's fine.
You figured it out because you're the digital queen. Look at the mess I'm doing with my framing. You know what I hate? I hate the fact that they cut the top of my head off. Give me a second.
No, it's okay. I've stacked up Monopoly boxes and games and stuff. That's my setup.
Okay, so what I finally got a tripod, but it's one of those very weird ones, the Chinese made ones that has a ring flash in the wrong place, and the ring flash gives me 2 circles in my eyes every single time. So it's very ridiculous. Does that happen to you?
I have a ring light, but I don't have a tripod. So whenever I have to use it, I have to have someone physically stand there holding the light above my head. And no one is willing to do that for me in my house. So
We're all
All
getting there. We're all
exactly.
getting there. We have Instagram husbands, wives. We're bribing people. But Ananya, it is such a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
So,
Thank.
hello properly. And I want to tell you that moving cover of yours where you're dancing, it's one of my absolute favorites. What gave you the idea to do that?
So when you guys discussed, firstly, hi. I don't think we said hi to each other properly at all. But I was so excited because I've never shot a cover with you guys. I've shot for Brides Today with you, and I met you there, but I've never officially shot for Harper's. So I was really excited when this idea came, and I love the concept of, the little things that bring you joy. And when we discussed it, you just asked me simply in a day what brings me joy. And first I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to do something super extravagant because, photo shoots and magazine shoots are all about like being larger than life and all these exciting things. But then it was actually just as simple as reading a book or just drinking a cup of coffee or watching my favorite movie. And I knew how to take a picture with coffee and a book, but then how do I have myself in the frame and show you guys my favorite movie? And I was trying to take pictures, but I was like, you can't see me, it's a silhouette. And then I was like, it actually looks kind of cool in the silhouette. And I sent you guys a couple of pictures of me in the silhouette and then Audrey Hepburn's film Breakfast at Tiffany's in the background, and you guys liked it so much, so I was like, let me just move around and do some really silly dance steps. I don't know what I was doing. I was just trying to make it look like I'm moving somehow. So yeah, that's where the idea kind of came from.
You were absolutely lovely. And it's so funny the things you've touched upon because before you came, I was just introducing it to everyone. And I said that, part of our campaign is the little things that give you joy. And while I was waiting, I said, I love my cup of coffee. I love that I can read. And you touched upon these things. And I think it's really sweet that one of the things you've done consistently on your handle has been showing the very small things in your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've shown yourself as vulnerable. You've done a lot of content for your own handle. You've done a lot of content for magazines. And you've shown how simple your life is. How do you, as a public figure who's also very private, how do you agree to share this? And what do you keep in mind when you say, this is how I'm going to show myself? What were you thinking at that point?
So I don't think it's ever been like a conscious decision because I feel like I had a normal Instagram account before my film released, and I used to post the same stuff on my regular
Right.
Instagram. I used to post what I'm eating, what I'm doing with my friends, what books I'm reading, just genuine, like funny stuff. And I think we've all grown up, looking at certain people. And there's this thing where we follow these models on Instagrams or these influencers on Instagram, and we look at them and we're like, oh my God, my body doesn't look like that, or I don't wake up looking like that. And I feel like that's a very toxic environment to grow up in because you're constantly comparing yourself and you're setting these unrealistic beauty standards for yourself. So I kind of made a promise to myself that once I go public on Instagram and once, little girls are looking up to me, I have a younger sister as well, that I'm going to be as unfiltered as possible. I'm just going to be completely myself. And it's not very hard to do, it's the easiest thing in the world to just be yourself. So I think I just made that conscious decision because I was a teenager as well when my film came out. So I was also in that cycle where I was following all these people on Instagram who I was like, oh my God, why don't I look like that? And it's a very natural thing to do, it's very normal. It's not wrong to do. But I consciously made that effort that I don't want to set an unrealistic standard for someone. I want someone to look at me and be like, oh, she's so real, so I can be real. She's speaking her mind, so I can speak my mind. She's making mistakes, so I can make mistakes. So
Well,
I
I
think
remember sort of praising your abs, and you said, no, 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 that was for the movie. I have lockdown abs now. And I thought that was the sweetest thing because, yes, of course, there are gorgeous women who look stunning, and I admire them, and I admire influencers and all the hard work they put because being an influencer is very hard work. Creating content is hard work. But I also like the fact that you've chosen another stand where you're going to be a regular girl who's also now a film star. I think that it's not always easy, but you stayed true to this. But you know what I was chatting about before you came on? I said, I was just looking at your resume and I said, your 2019 was when you had your film launch.
Yes.
May.
Yes.
Then you had another film release, right?
In December.
We're in 2020. It's not 2029. Do you realize all of that happened to you last year?
Honestly, I feel like last year and even the year before that, at least half of it went by so fast that I didn't even have time to like sit down and be like, oh, okay, this has happened, you know? Like Student of the Year came out, and as soon as that came out, I was already shooting for Pati Patni Aur Wo. And once I got done with Pati Patni Aur Wo, I started shooting for my third film, Khali Pili, and then Pati Patni Aur Wo released. And as soon as that got finished, I was still completing Khali Pili. And Khali Pili was actually supposed to come out this Friday in theaters. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was supposed to be 3 releases back to back. And, it was going so fast. Everything was going so fast. I never had a moment to just sit and be like, oh, actually so much has happened. Like till before this lockdown, I didn't even have 3 days together sitting at home. I've not sat at home for 3 days at a stretch. So I think right now I'm actually realizing in this time that I've got in these 2 months, I'm realizing how used to I got to being on set. It's actually, it was like more than my home. I feel like being on set and in a van and in front of the camera was my home. I was never at home. I was always working, and I loved it. I love that. And I got kind of used to like this fast paced life. And now just sitting and looking back, I'm really, really grateful for everything, but I just can't wait to go back. Like, that's the first thing.
Yeah, apparently you said that 2019 was the year. I mean, all your dreams came true because when did you know you wanted to be an actor?
1998, and that's the year that I was born. I think I always
Oh,
knew
shut up. You were born.
I swear, like everyone thinks I'm joking, but like, my school friends always tell me that you always said you wanted to be an actor. Like whenever in school someone would ask, then people's answers would keep changing. Like, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be this, I want to be that. But my answer was always the same, and they actually made me realize that. So I've not known myself to want to be anything else. It's always been this for me. If you ask my parents or anyone who's watched me growing up, for me, it's always been about acting and being in front of the camera, performing in any way. So for me, it was always.
What inspired you? I mean, one is you're born to it, right? But were there any movies that you saw that sort of reinforced it? What kept you wanting to be an actor through your journey?
So I think growing up, I watched a lot of like the films that define Bollywood. So like the Dharma films, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, and like I know I always say this, but it actually impacted my life so much, and it made me fall in love with cinema even more. Just watching like Kajol and Shah Rukh sir just romance on screen, and all the songs and the way that they dressed and just everything being larger than life. I think that really inspired me, and that made me want to be an actor more than anything else. Just watching those kind of films and just
I want to tell you, when you see Shah Rukh Khan on the screen, the way he looks at you, it ruins you for love because you think, I want someone to love me the way he loves this girl, right? I mean, that magnetic ability,
yeah,
the way he looks at you is just insane.
Yeah, like I grew up and I'm like, where is my Raj and where is my
Yeah.
like Karan has like but also set the benchmark for love way too high. Like I'm not settling for anyone.
Yeah, but so you watched all these films, the fact
Yeah.
that you are from a film family and you're in a circle, right? You hung out with these people.
Yeah.
I mean, I've met you at Karan Johar's house.
No, I think definitely that as well has been a big part of my life because my dad would always be on set. I may not have gone with him for his shoots, but I think just the conversations in our household, just watching his films while growing up or hanging out with Suhana or Shania, even their fathers are actors and they're as in love with cinema as I am. So I think the three of us also, we used to play a lot of acting games. It was just all about acting, it wasn't like a thing. I don't know how to explain it, but it wasn't like a thing. It was just the way we were.
Listen,
always.
If you're born into it, it's kind of nature, nurture. It's all the same thing. I mean, it was the way you were born, and it's what's going to happen. It's almost inevitable.
But I still think even if I wasn't born into a family where my father is an actor, I think I still would have been as in love with cinema as I am. But I'm very grateful that I'm born into a family and my father is an actor. And, I'm just very blessed that my dreams have kind of aligned in a certain way. And I don't want to ever waste this opportunity because I've wanted it for so long. This has been my dream as well. And now that I'm here, I just want, the love from the audience, and I want people to like my work, and I want to get better and better. every time. But yeah.
So how are you then dealing from that frenzy? And we do shoots with you, and I tell my team I love going for shoots because that day you spend on set, the energy, the creativity, the process, the set food, the bhel
Yes.
puri snacks. I mean, really, thank you. I love the chart. I live for it.
Mhm.
How are you dealing with this complete full stop? I mean, did you decide you're going to learn a special skill? Did you decide you were going to cook or you were going to do something different? What have you done with this time?
So I think initially when this lockdown was kind of announced, I was shooting till literally the day before that happened, till it was allowed to shoot. We were still shooting, and I was
Up
shooting.
till the 15th or the 16th, right?
I
17th was the lockdown?
Yeah, 17th was the last day that shoots were allowed, either
Yeah,
17th. So
yeah.
we were 16th, and we were shooting a song shoot. And shooting a song is just more than you can imagine. There's so many people on set. The energy is just something else. So I was so used to that. So when the lockdown was kind of announced, I was like, okay, I have a break, and I thought it's just going to be for 3 weeks, as everyone did think. So I was like, okay, maybe I need a break. Maybe I need to sit down and reflect so that I can go back, with more energy and more spirit, and I can give more of myself once this break is over. So I consciously decided that I wasn't going to, kind of stress myself out by, just overworking myself. I should take a break because, your body needs a break. My hair was,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people thought I cut my hair, but actually my hair just got ruined because it was just being like, there was so much product going in my hair and so much
Mm-hmm.
tied to my hair. So I had to take care of that. I had to take care of my skin. As actors, it's a visual medium and you're in front of the
Of
camera.
course.
So I thought, okay, maybe I'll take a break. But then as it kept getting extended, and rightfully so, I realized that I had to do something with my time. I'm so used to working on myself and just learning something new that it's unnatural for me not to do that. So I
Mm-hmm.
decided into cooking was just not happening. Like that was
No? Did you
no.
try it at all?
I tried helping my younger sister by passing her like the bowl and just be that sous chef, but I just knew that like I feel like you have to have a certain kind of magic in your hands, and
I agree with you. Listen, I can't cook at all, at all. I mean, at all. It's embarrassing. I
I
make bad toast.
yeah, same. I like honestly like if you could make bad toast, I would make bad toast. But honestly, so
I'll make it for you someday.
I will. We can have like a little
We can
potluck
have a competition. Yeah, absolutely.
toast. But yeah, I knew I wanted to do something. So I always wanted to learn an instrument, but I was always like, oh, I don't have any time now. I don't have any time. Like I don't want to start something and do it halfway or not give my 100%. But then my mom is like, now you only have time. Like what is the excuse now? So I started taking guitar lessons,
Oh,
and
nice.
yes, and I've been taking belly dancing classes. So it's just something for fun. I think just it's actually because it's on Zoom, it's kind of in front of the camera, so at least I get a little bit of that. And yeah, it's just some movement,
So,
some
do you really play the guitar or are you acting to play the guitar? Because I'm sure you can do that as well. I'm sure you can look very convincing air guitaring.
I actually have done that in one of my ads. They
I
just
need
gave
to see it. I need to see the air
I will
guitaring. Come on.
I'll send you the link, and they just like on that day they were like, oh, you're actually a guitarist in this ad, and I was like, wait, I don't know anything about playing the guitar. So they were just like, no,
So,
just sing your favorite song and just strum it. So they just blasted like Ghungaru because I love Bollywood music, and I was just like, yeah, I was just like going for it, and then it actually seemed like I was playing the guitar. But no, now I'm trying to actually be good at playing it, not just pretend to play. Yeah.
but this is also the first time in a year since you've spent this much time with the family, right? And the year you've had has been a year of growing up because you were the little kid. And then once you step out to go and work and you become this independent working woman, you change, right? You do
Yeah.
change. You have opinions, you're not scared to air them, you feel you have a point of view that should be listened to. How is it at home? Are you fighting with your folks? And I have to tell you, all the girls in the office were asking because clearly they're fighting with their parents because they're like, how can you stay at home?
I know, but, honestly, we were actually discussing it, but I don't think since I started shooting, we'd all had a meal together on the dining table, because it's
Wow.
like special occasions like someone's birthday or something, just a normal meal, because my timings were all over the place. Even my dad's timings were all over the place, so we never sat down and kind of had like a meal as a family together. So I'm actually grateful right now that I'm getting to spend time with them more than anything, because I've always lived with my parents, and before I started acting, that was my life, seeing my parents every single day. So even when I'm shooting, I still try to make some time for my parents, but I feel like when I'm away on, like an outdoor shoot, I'm so invested in the people that I'm shooting with, kind of become my family for that time. So, to not forget, but I kind of get so lost in that world that I don't give that much priority to my friends or my family. And then once I come back, once I snap out of that character or come back home, then I'm like, I didn't even realize that I didn't speak to them for a month or something, But right now that I'm home, I'm actually having so much fun, just like chilling with my mom and my younger sister and my dad. I like, if I'm sitting in my room and my mom and my younger sister are in the hall, I kind of get FOMO. Like, my mom keeps telling me that you don't even want to miss out on one conversation, because I know that a time like this is never going to come back, because once we can go back to work and once it's safe, everyone's just going to like put themselves so much into work, because we have so much pent up like energy where we want towards our work. So I know I'm not going to get a time like this, and like, I'm actually really blessed because I have a super cool family. Like, my parents are really chilled out and they're more like my friends, so I actually have fun sitting at home and chilling with them. So that way it's been good. And I'm not gonna lie, like, there are so many fights. Like, we actually had a fight today morning, but I think once it's over,
What do you? But the fights are the funniest because they're about the stupidest little things. It's all. I mean, we're three sisters, so I can tell you. 1 minute we're just chatting like we can't live without each other, and in a minute we're like, "Get out! I never said this. Go away. Return that outfit that you borrowed." I'm like,
years ago, honestly. No, but my younger sister and I are so like that. Like, she'll like come into my room screaming like, "Why did you take this of mine, this, that?" And then 2 seconds later she'll be like, "Oh, do you want to watch a movie?" Like,
but your younger sister is very special to you because you talk about her a lot, right?
what?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, she is, because I feel like she's at that age, like she's like 16 now. So I think we're actually getting really close now, because we have like a 5-year age gap. So before this, she was always like way younger.
The annoying baby.
We would fight about anything and everything. And like, people are like, "Oh, y'all have fights?" I'm like, we scratch each other. Like, I have like a scar somewhere on my face that she...
Yep.
Exactly.
I've scarred my sister.
I think
I've done that. Yeah.
all have. We still have like sometimes like physical fights, like, I'm not gonna lie, when we're like really angry and stuff, but then it becomes fine also. And I think that's my favorite thing about family. Like, you can fight as much as you want, but then when you go back, it'll always be normal and it'll always be okay. So my younger sister, she's 16, and I think she's at that age where she's changing a lot, and her taste is changing a lot. She's really into fashion, so sometimes I take advice from her.
Nice.
Shoot that we did, she actually styled it, and
I want to say that, yeah, she styled. Did she also photograph it?
yeah, she's super creative.
Yeah.
Wants to get into like filmmaking, and so we've been watching a lot of movies together, because I've also not watched a lot of classic films, so we've actually been watching those together, and we talk about them, and she's been reading and I've been reading, so we're just bonding over a lot of creative stuff. So yeah.
No, I remember asking if she'd be part of a photograph of the shoot, and you said to me she's 16, no. And I thought that was the nicest thing I'd heard, because we realized then that you're really, really protective about her. Has she ever told you, do you ever feel like you're a role model for her and you have to be a certain way?
No, definitely. I feel like she's 16, and I know how I was at 16. Like, I was this, really awkward kid, and I was very conscious about the way that I looked, and I didn't want to be photographed. I think until I started acting and I had to take my first photo shoot for the poster, I had never even done a photo shoot before that. Like, I was so awkward in front of the camera. So I know maybe she might not have to like vocalize it or tell me how exactly she's feeling, but I know, because I've been there and not too long ago. So I am protective of her in that way, because there's so much hatred out there. There's so much unnecessary, like, people are mean and there's trolls, and I've seen a lot of that, especially.
I was coming to that next because I wanted to talk about So Positive. I mean, you launched this thing. It's on our cover because I thought it's the most important thing that we need to address right now while we talk about joy. I think that people have been extremely negative as well in the way people have chosen to express how they're spending their time or how they choose to find their joy. I think you won the Economic Times award for it as well within its first year. But tell me what led you to start it? What do you hope to achieve with it? And it's really funny. Right now, I've been keeping a really strict eye on the comments. And while most people are lovely, there's the odd comment where somebody is really nasty. And I'm trying to figure what makes people so obnoxious. I
Welcome to the.
really, I really need to understand this.
I don't know, so actually kind of getting from my conversation with about my younger sister to where the idea came from, I think because I've kind of been in that position where I've been afraid to speak up, or I've just like let things happen and been okay with it since a really young age. I think I kind of wanted to be that voice for people who are too afraid to speak up, because there was this full controversy about my university, and people were saying that I lied about getting into certain colleges, and it was right around the time that my first film released, and I was getting so much love on one hand, and on the other hand suddenly there was just this drama and this unnecessary hate in that way. And I've never been the kind of person to speak up and fight for what I believe in. Like, I might be very outspoken, but I also sometimes get scared and hold myself back because I'm not very I don't like confronting people. I'm not that kind of. But I was like, if I stand up for myself, maybe I'll actually be helping a lot of young girls out there who were like me, who couldn't stand up for themselves. And I feel you just need that 1 second of courage or that 1 second of bravery. It literally just takes 1 second for you to decide something, and that can change so many lives. So I think that's when I decided that I want to create this community for young kids and young people out there who feel like they're alone in the world, who feel like the entire world is against them, because they're not. It's just a small fraction of people who are these nameless, faceless people on Instagram, and who just come and spew the hate that's probably festering in their actual lives, and they come and just spit that out online. So I just wanted people to realize that and acknowledge that just because someone is saying something about you, that doesn't make you that. Only you can define what you are, and if you're happy with yourself, that's all that matters. Like, I've come to realize that self-love is the best form of love, and that's the most important thing, and it takes a lot of time to get there. And if I can make that process of getting there just a little bit faster and a little bit easier for young kids out there, that's kind of where the idea came from.
So do you share what you go through? Because I mean, it appalls me that anyone in the public eye gets the kind of comments from faceless, unknown people that are so obnoxious that you worry that this kind of hate lies inside people. It worries me. And I have a sister who's a musician, and somebody made a really nasty comment. They said that, oh, your music is so bad, the original musician would be turning in his grave. And so she wrote and she said, thank you for your feedback. And he's like, no, I didn't mean it in a bad way. She said, no, of course you did. And he apologized. She called him out. And sometimes I think that's all you have to do with bullies. You have to tell them, hi.
Attention, and if you give that reaction, that's all they wanted, and actually they didn't even mean to say something bad, they just wanted you to react in that way. So I feel like sometimes just giving love back to them can actually just heal so many things in their lives that they'll probably stop sending hate to another person. And I feel like just giving love back and just spreading kindness, I think you should not have that hate within you. Even if I feel like sometimes people blur the line between constructive criticism and actually trolling someone, and I think people need to realize that. Like, if you're someone who is more
you know what, Ananya, constructive criticism can only come from someone who's an expert. It cannot come from anybody else. I'm very sorry to say this. If a writer was to say that my work is not nice, I would appreciate and respect it, but not everybody is qualified to have a negative opinion. Everyone has the right to have an opinion, but it cannot be ugly. It cannot be hurtful.
Exactly. I think people need to draw that line between where they're actually meaning to help someone. So if someone says, oh, you need to work on this dance step, then I'll be like, okay, maybe you're right, that I can change something. Right. And I have done that in the past. Like, I have read what people have said about my films or my songs, and I've taken it in my stride because I want to keep learning. I think the worst part in my life will be where I'm just like, no, I'm perfect and I have nowhere else to go. I don't want to ever reach that path. Like I want to keep getting better and I want to keep improving. But I feel like if people are like, yuck, like you have two left feet, you can never dance well, who made you an actor? I think that's not constructive. Like, what can I learn from that? So I feel like people need to just kind of reflect and take a moment and just be like, don't just be nice. Just be nice. I think it's that.
Just be
That's
nice. I like that. Be positive, be nice. Tell me something. So we've discussed what you've been doing at home. You've not learned how to cook, but you've learned the guitar, you've learned how to dance. Um, how has fashion been treating you? Do you get dressed at all? I only get dressed for Instagram lives, and everyone tells me you're looking really good. I'm like, hello, took time and effort.
exactly. I'm wearing my pajamas under this. That's why I've like sat down and I'm not in a position where you can see my pajamas. But even when I'm shooting, I actually go to set in my pajamas. And only when I have to get ready, I want to get ready. Because so much time as an actor, your life has to go into looking a certain way and getting your hair and makeup done. And it's not easy. Like everyone thinks that we wake up like this or we look like this naturally. We don't. Like how I look on the cover of Harper's is it took effort, it took time, it was a big mess because my hair is not, a certain way. It's not the way
You're
that it looks.
complaining about your hair a lot. We need to get you some
I got kind of
masks.
security about my hair, but no, so I had to like tie these space buns and kind of distract people from looking at my hair and stuff. And on set you're so used to having extensions and experts working on your hair, but I just want people to actually realize that we don't look like how we look on covers of magazines or in films. I leave my house in my pajamas and my chappals, and I like that. I like being normal and I like being chill. So right now when I'm spending this time at home, I'm in my pajamas all day. I'm either in my workout clothes or in my pajamas. There's no in between.
It's
Only
a
when I'm
great balance from track pants to track pants, basically. Well
in
done.
a cycle of track pants. It's honestly just that, yeah.
But tell me, I know that as soon as things open, you're dying to get back to work. But what do you feel has changed in you over the last 2 months? Or
A
what are
lot.
you trying to change?
No, I think a lot has changed. I feel like I've realized that, and I feel like a lot of people have realized that you don't need much to be happy with. I feel like we're constantly in this pursuit of happiness, and when we're outside and we're working, and we just always want the next thing. Like, even if I get what I wanted, but I also want that, and I also want this, and I also want that. And we all do that as humans. But I feel like now, when we're all forced to be at home and we have to be at home, I think our priorities have shifted to health and family
Mm-hmm.
and a good meal and clean water. Like, just having that is such a privilege, and I'm so grateful to have that. So I've realized that I don't need much to be happy, and I can be happy with the little and simpler things in life, and just the basic things. And I'm also not going to take a lot of things for granted, because
Mm-hmm.
spending time with my family or just reading a good book or watching a good movie would be like, oh, okay, you wouldn't take it as specially, or you wouldn't give it such a high
Yeah,
value.
it wouldn't have like importance in your life. It would be one of the many little things.
Yeah, it would
Yeah.
be like thing. But like last night I watched Jojo Rabbit and I was like, wow, like I'm so lucky that I'm watching such nice films and I get to be a part of films. And I read a book and I was like, oh my God, like everything is just heightened. Like the value of everything is heightened. And I
Mm-hmm.
like that forever. Like I don't want to lose that gratefulness that I have, that gratitude that I have for anything and everything. And yeah, and I think I've also learned that I can be patient, because I actually thought I'm the most impatient person on the planet. Like if I wanted something, I wanted it now. And I feel like when it comes to my work, that's a good thing. But in other things, that might not be the best thing.
Yep.
And the first few days I was really like uncertain, and I was like, how am I going to deal with this? How am I going to be alone? And I'm so used to having like people around me all the time. But I think it takes practice, but I think patience is a very important like virtue to have. And I think I've also realized that I'm happy being alone. Like I thought I couldn't be alone. I thought I always needed my friends around me.
Entourage, your friends. Yeah.
I'm a very excitable person, and I love talking, and I love like being around people. Like I thrive in like group situations and stuff. But now it's like, okay, do I even want to go out once everything opens up? Like, am I going to like, I know once I spend a few hours with my friends or people, I'm also going to want to come back home now, because I've kind of got this like understanding with myself. Like I like spending time with myself and I like doing things that make me happy. So I think these are qualities that once things open up also I want to keep in my life.
Hold
Like
on to. Yeah. Well, I want to tell you that what you do need to hold on to is how positive you are. It's been so much fun chatting with you.
yes, I'm so excited. It's like a
Thank
new
you so much.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
And
you.
to,
Entire
you know,
team.
to coming, to working together again and to seeing you soon. Thank
And
you.
I want to thank the entire team of Harper's because I love this concept and I love this idea and I want people to reflect on the little things that bring them joy and hold on to those things. And I really had so much fun and it was a bonding experience for my mom and my sister and I. And it'll actually be such a special memory because now I can say I shot a magazine cover at home. Like it's going to
Yeah.
be
And
something.
that's going to be the new world. And it's so weird. It's almost prescient. I was just announcing and telling people what I'm grateful for, what brings me joy. And I said, my team, and I'm thrilled that you see how fabulous they are. So,
Amazing.
here's to the team at Harper's Bazaar. Thank you. And thank you, Ananya, and your fabulous team, your mother, your sister. Thank you for doing this with us and see much more of you very soon.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.